Then the last thing to go over here, since we're just doing a basic, is that from the sweep to the casting stroke is not a linear back, stop, forward. It is, once I start this, it's one speed, continuous motion all the way through. It's out and then around. It's two planes. There's the plane for the sweep, there's the plane for the casting stroke. You go from the plane to the sweep and then torque, twist, turn over the rod into the forward stroke, all in one motion with no stop. It's not back, stop, forward. It's out, around, and then inside. Outside, inside. Big curve into a little curve forward. Notice that during the sweep, to emphasize the big curve that's happening here, the line is actually wanting to travel in a centrifugal motion slightly to the outside of the rod. It's not linear, it's not in a straight path, it's not a lift. This is not a lifting of the rod. It's an outward forcing of the line into an outward trajectory, centrifugal outward roundhouse move. Notice the outward curving motion of the line. That's huge, super important. That also happens on the Perry poke, but it's condensed into a very small area. It's easy to see on the sea spay, big wide sweep. Perry poke has the same elements. They're all compressed into a very tiny area. There's still an outward motion, but it's right here. It's going to be right at the rod tip, just like this, and then back. It'll be that quick, just right there. Up, stop, the out is there, back, and then around. I did it slow there. Now we'll do it in normal speed. I don't know if it's visible or not, but you can see that as soon as I start into the sweep, the line actually travels away from me first, then comes around. The mistake is to have the line first go that way. It should travel away first and then come around. That's that outward centrifugal roundhouse move. Now then, when you learn Skagit casting, I highly recommend learning the sea space first, because this is a big sweep and it's much easier to learn, whereas the Perry poke, it's a very tight, small motion, which is harder to learn. Learn sea spay first, then the Perry poke. One of the major differences to illustrate this in Skagit casting from other styles is in our sustained anchor casting. It's very important for us. We form a load during the sweep, and then we maintain that load and transfer it into a forward direction for the cast. This all has to be done right here. There cannot be a lift. As soon as you lift or break your rod out of this pivot point here, you actually unload the rod. Now, all other casting styles, if you watch, as they come around on their touch and go anchors, there is a lift, and to varying degrees. In underhand, it might be small, it might be only a couple inches. If you watch the guys with the long lines and the big rods, it's real obvious, an extreme lift like this. That works for touch and go casting, but once again, if you do this in a Skagit cast, at that point you have just unloaded the rod. And now the only way you're going to get a cast is by hammering really hard into the forward cast. So once again, a lot of it seems subtle, but the actual results are very big. So the small differences equal big results. So you've seen the downstream sea, the downstream Perry poke, both casts also performed off the upstream side. And one thing I want to say is downstream casts, my feet are always pointed in a more or less general downstream direction. When I want to cast off my upstream shoulder, I'm going to shift my feet to point more across the river in the direction I want to cast. So let's go with the upstream sea spay. Up, there's the line contact, down, cast. I'm going to go to the pickup. There we go, line contact, come around, make the cast. So that's the upstream sea spay. All it is a mirror image. Each one of these casts is just a mirror or reverse image of each other. Now we'll do the upstream parry poke. Up, stop, around, cast. There we go. And what I want to do is show you the versatility, the downstream sea and parry poke. And by versatility, I mean where you can land the line and fly to adjust to which way the wind is blowing. So what I'm going to do is lay the fly in close to me. This will give me a shorter D-loop, pretending like we have some obstructions fairly close to us. I want the fly here, right there, around, and out we go. So everything's close there. Now I'm going to drop it further away. Let's say I had a pile of weeds or sticks sticking up right here. There we go. See how much further away that fly landed from me? So you can see there's a lot of places I can place the fly and the line. Same with the parry poke. Now let's do the parry poke. I'm going to drop far away, come around, cast. Now I'm going to bring it up here. This is all the same cast. All I'm doing is changing the placement of the poke to accommodate whatever, trees, sticks, logs, weeds, whatever the case may be. Once again, same cast, all I'm changing is line placement. Now watch this one, this will be the most extreme for the upstream side, way over here, around, cast. So, there you have it. That we were never formally taught any casting, therefore we were allowed a freedom of experimentation that you don't normally get from someone that's actually been trained in a formal way.
Exactly.
So, and then it all ended up being what you see us doing right now. Fairly close to us, I want the fly here, right there, and I have to pull in more running line. Let this be a lesson to you. To alleviate that problem, I've got too much running line hanging downstream. I'm going to have to strip into 3 loops instead of the 2 that I usually use. Make them shorter. There we go. Up, stop, down, cast. Dang. Another one. Up, stop, around, cast. There's no fish, that's why. Don't worry, it'll come together at some point here. I need whiskey.